I have worked on a fair amount of film projects where I have had to say no to the director for, there was this kind of horror / heist robbery movie thing, short movie that I was working on, and me and the other actor get into this fight, and I actually grab this huge candlestick off of a mantle, and by huge candlestick I mean it looks like it's like the size of a baseball bat, and it's wood. And the director wanted me to go up behind the other actor and hit him across the back.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, that's great, that's fine, fine. How are you what angle are you gonna do so I can just not hit him? And the director looks at me, he's like, no, just go ahead and hit him. And I was
hit him?
Yeah, go ahead and hit him across the back. And I was like, I'm not. And here's how stupid the other actor was. The other actor turns to me. He's like, Paul. He's like.
Uh-oh. Hopefully we didn't lose you there. Uh-oh. Okay, well, let's try getting them back here. Strange things like this happen, occasionally. So let's try calling them back here and see what happens. And let's give it another try. Okay, maybe his cell phone battery went dead, or we were talking about the paranormal so much, maybe something hit him. I don't know.
Sorry about that. I think I dropped the call there for a second.
Okay, I thought maybe because we were talking all this paranormal stuff, they finally figured, okay, he's got away with all these movies. Let's go get him now.
Oh my gosh! Yes. That would be. Oh, fortunately, it was just a drop call.
Okay.
Fortunately for me.
Okay.
But to kind of just wrap up that little thing I was sharing, I ended up. I don't know when I cut out there. Did I cut out when I was talking about?
Well, you were talking.
I don't know what the last thing you heard.
Well, you mentioned that the director told you to go ahead and hit him in the back. The other guy turned around and said something. And did you hit him in the back?
I actually, a good friend of mine. She does stunts in California. And this has been a lifesaver for me as far as when I do stunts on set. She told me, she's like, Paul, if you ever feel uncomfortable doing a stunt, tell the director or whoever's telling you to do it, tell them to show you how to do it. So I actually handed the candlestick to the director, and I said, fine, I'll go ahead and do it, but you have to show me how. And the director, Yep, you got it. The director, he took the candlestick out, and he stood there for a second, and then he looked at it, and then he stood there, and he blinked a little bit, and then he was like, you know what, maybe we'll have you do this a different way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it hit him that, that's going to be painful.
Yeah. Well, and I actually was working on a film in Iowa, and this... I don't know if you've ever heard of this term before, but there's a term for actors where they're called method actors.
Oh yeah,
and they really try to live as the character. So I was working with this actor. He's about 6'3", really big guy, big muscle guy, and he and I have this scene. And for your listeners listening, I'm about 6 foot, but I weigh 130 pounds. I'm a really skinny guy. And so he and I had this fight scene together, and he has a gun, and he's supposed to fake pistol whip my face. And we do the rehearsals. During the rehearsals, it's just fine. It's great, we do the choreography and everything's fine. When the director called action, I could see it. I could see it happen in the other actor's eyes. He left. He wasn't there anymore. Somebody else, he let himself get so far into the character that when the director called action, I literally was like, no, this is no. And the actor came at me, and he literally threw me down. It wasn't fake. He actually started whacking my face, pistol whipping it for real with this gun. And I was trying to get away. for real, because I was like, this is, and I obviously started screaming and trying to wiggle out, and I'm this 130-pound guy, and this 200-some-pound big guy is smashing my face with this gun, which is real metal. And the director calls cut, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, that was so amazing! You guys made it look so real." Nobody on set realized that it was real until I like ran off the set. I was like, this, my face is bleeding. This is crazy. And it's just, it goes to tell me, it's just like, oh my gosh, some people, you have to maintain control when you're acting. There's no reason for somebody to get hurt for real like that, but, it's some, I guess what I'm saying is some crazy things have happened on set, not necessarily paranormal, but.
Well, that's kind of strange. I mean, when they said cut, did he quit or did he continue on till somebody stopped him?
He actually, when they called cut, he just took a step back and, he took a second, breathed a little bit, and then he looked at me and he came over and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I actually looked at him and I was like, get the F away, like, get away from me. Like, do not talk to me, do not touch me. Like, what the hell? Like, I don't know what planet he came from, but that's so not cool to do to another person.
Sounds like he had some built-up rage in him.
It sounded, something. Something was going on there. But it was bad. It was bad. But so I've had a lot of things like that, I guess, happen over the years on some of these smaller budget films where doing stunts and stuff. I've gotten banged up and beat up a little bit, but not so much now. I've kind of, like I said, I have a really good friend who she works in stunts, and she's given me a lot of really good advice and tips on how to kind of now identify problems and issues that would come about like that. Now, I didn't think about this at the time, but now, had I known what I know now I would have, when that other actor started doing that, I would have just yelled out the director's real name, and he would have called cut right away because he realized, oh, this isn't acting.
Yeah, I mean that's scary. I mean, I remember a Vincent Price movie where he was a director of a movie, and a horror movie, right? And he, there was a airplane with the old prop, and he kept telling the actor, I don't know, I can't remember, but he kept telling him to step back, as they were filming it, right? But actually, what he was doing is using these actors, right, as because he was killing them. So he got the actor to actually kept stepping back and said, "Oh, you're okay, step back just a little bit, just another foot more." And naturally, the prop chopped him up in a million pieces. But that's the type of movies I kind of like, I guess. So maybe I'd let everybody know what my morbid sense of humor is.
Well, and it's interesting because I have worked with directors. I've worked with directors that do play sort of mind games with their actors a bit, which is disturbing on some level. I've never worked with a director that has intentionally tried to kill me, that I know. But yeah, I've definitely worked with directors where they toy with their actors quite a bit mentally. And I think that does speak a little bit to kind of what you're talking about. I think it speaks to a certain, a bit of a morbid mindset in some ways. Yeah.
Well,
not that I'm judging you at all.
Yeah. Well, then again, too, I mean, you've done a lot of movies and stuff like that, so you know what's going on. How about when they take somebody off the street, and put them in a movie, in a scene and stuff like that? Hey, I don't know. Hey, just step back another 5. You're not near the cliff. Go. Yeah, you got a lot of room. Step back. Whoop, he drops down. They film it. I mean, hey. Again, that was a Vincent Price scene, one of his movies. But yeah, I mean, that's a type of movies I kind of like because they're kind of suspenseful. They're kind of scary. They're kind of awesome. Hey, we're down to like the last couple minutes. Why don't you give a list of some of your credits of some of the better movies you've been in, and then list the one that was the biggest stinker you ever done.
Sure, that sounds great. If people want to check out, they can find a lot of these films online. I would say to check out 13 Hours in a Warehouse. It's a ghost kind of a film. Also Kill Game, another horror movie slasher. And if anybody's listening that's looking for a little bit more of a kind of an alien, not quite so horror-based movie, I would say check out Dust of War. And people can find all these on, they can find out about most of these through my website, which is paulcramactor.com. And the biggest stinker of a movie that I have worked on, I'd still have to kind of go back to that short one that people can find on YouTube. If they just search for Paul Cram and like Paul Cram heroin, they'll find me running around in my underwear doing just obnoxious weird things that, it's worth a watch.
Yeah. When was that one done?
That would have been done about 5 years ago. Okay.
So, I mean, how do you find all these little movies to be in? I mean, as an actor, are they published, like what movies being made, or do you have an agent, or it gets you all these parts?
I do. I have an agent that works on getting me auditions and stuff. But then, in addition to that, I also here in the Midwest, I've made a fair amount of. I've worked on a lot of projects, so kind of try to keep in touch, and people, their careers start growing, and as their career grows, mine grows. So, lots of networking. And that's so I find work through a few different channels, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Wow. Hey, well, Paul, I really enjoyed having you on my show, and maybe sometime in the future, I do my weekly show, but I do a 1 hour show on Sundays between 7 and 8 p.m. Pacific West Coast time. Maybe we can have you on again and talk about, these horror movies and a little more in depth on each one. Or, you pick out one or
That'd
two
be
of
great.
them, we'll talk about one or two of them and go into it. And,
it'd be really fun, even if, I'm thinking of that one Tuscaloosa with the Mental Institute. Like, it might be fun to come and chat with you when one of these are really right coming out, so people could check it out and we could talk about it. It'd be really fun.
Oh yeah, maybe you can even give me some pictures, and I can post it up on our website and stuff like that. Well,
absolutely.
Well, you have a good week, and hopefully you filed your tax return. If you didn't, you got an extra day this year.
If you didn't, it also could be an episode of a horror movie.
Yeah, actually, it was a horror movie for today because the IRS computer websites all went down today for most of the day. They crashed. So the IRS actually said, hey, everybody has an extra day. Well, you know how many people were probably panicking? Like, hey, if I don't get this out, I'm going to be audited. So, what can I say? I did my extension, so I'm okay. I did mine 2 weeks ago, so I didn't have to worry about it till the last moment.
I got mine in there. I think I got mine in there about a month ago. I was really trying to work on getting them in there early this year. I don't know why, but I did. But yeah, and I just wanted to say to you too, thank you so much for having me on. It's been a good talk, and I'd love to come back.
Oh yeah, please do. And keep in touch, and I'll send you email in the next couple of days, and maybe we can line up a Sunday show. I do it right before The Walking Dead comes on, so get more people listening.
Love it.
Okay, Paul, you have a good one, and thank you.
All right.
Okay, you take care.
Yes, thank you so much. All right, bye.
Good night. Okay, well, now we know a little bit of how they make some of these horror movies, what's involved in them. Hey, if you could become an actor and they all of a sudden want you to go into a cave where there's snakes and spiders, maybe you don't want to do it. Or crawl underneath, an old trailer that's been sitting there for 20-some years. Oh, those creepy bugs. I couldn't do it. Hey, this Sunday, we're going to have a 1 hour show from 7 to 8. We're going to be talking about Art Bell. My guest is Ryan Eaton, he knew, just like me, we were distant friends with Art Bell. In other words, we've known him for many years. We've been in, touch back and forth during those years, off and on. We're going to be talking about Art Bell. We're going to be talking about some of the